Hello. Good morning, everyone. Whoops, the noise is going to be good. Super. So it's awesome to see all you guys here. Thank you so much for coming. We've really been looking forward to this event, and we're really happy to see that so many of you guys showed up. So for the program, this is the program. This has also been, so all of you guys have also got an email from us that says a little bit about the teams, a little bit about us. So if you guys want to read more about them or need more information, just click in the link and download it. So we're going to start with a little introduction to YSI, where we'll afterwards go over to talking about the innovation program and talk a little bit to the participants before we have a break, and the pitch session starts around 11 o'clock. So cool. So 2.5 years ago, it was a Paris conference. We were a group of young individuals that came together and thought, okay, there are a lot of politicians, a lot of grown-ups doing a lot of talking. But where is action? And why aren't the youth more involved? So we got together and we thought, what will happen if we bring together some of the smartest young minds from our time and actually have them come up with real solutions to the problems we're facing? That's how YSI was born, and that's basically what started our first pillar, which is that we generate impact startups. The second one is that we're building now a youth movement focusing on sustainability. And the third one is that we're working with established companies and organizations on questions related to sustainability, innovation, and the whole youth aspect around it. So what makes us different from everyone else? Because you hear a lot of different types of programs and innovation weekends. Well, basically, there's 4 main things that differentiate us. First of all is that we generate impacts totally from scratch, which Didrik is going to come back to afterwards. Secondly, we have a very strong focus on team building. And you're going to meet all the participants later, and you're going to be able to talk to them. And we've really been focusing on making teams that are diversified when it comes to background, but aligned when it comes to what they want to work with. We've also been able to build up a global mentor network and also a global network of youth. So this is something that the teams can really leverage when they're going to be building startups. Whoops, went too fast there. So just forget the last slide. So when we started our first year, does anybody want to, if you wouldn't have seen the number, would you have guessed that we got as an amount of applicants the first year? What would you guess the first year? So this year we had 8,500. What do you think we had the first year? How many do you think? 100? Actually, we thought, okay, we started this, we're like, yeah, we're going to be amazing, we're going to reach out to everyone, everyone's going to see it in social media and apply. We got 50 applicants. And that was because we had to actually go and handpick people to go into the program because no one applied for it. But then something happened the next year. Then we bumped it up to 10,000. So you can say that when we're talking about exponential growth, that's a pretty high one. But then the problem was, how do you read through 10,000 applicants and actually decide who gets to be a part of the program? I'm going to tell you, we spent a lot of time doing that. So this year we thought, okay, let's try to make it a little bit harder. Let's say that every participant has to spend at least 15 to 25 hours during the program, and you also have to be committed to actually build a startup afterwards. We still ended up getting over 8,500 applicants from 165 countries. So this shows that there's a lot of interest for this program. And youth are really hungry to be able to build startups and have an impact, which we think is amazing. So basically how the funnel works is, this is a heat map of this year's participants. So these 8,500, they go through several different screening processes. And in the end, we build strong teams, as I said, diversified when it comes to background, but aligned when it comes to skills. And this is this year's participants, so it's a very wide range of participants from all over the world. I'm really happy to see such a diversified crowd being here. So there have also been some success stories from the previous years. I'm going to just note 2 of them. So one of them is Silo Water, so they do low-cost water filters. They've been working together with some MIT professors. They just got a grant from Harvard and are going to produce between 500 and 1,000 units within the next 6 months that we'll be sending to Pakistan. And you have Aquasolus Global that do reverse osmosis, so salt water into drinking water. They've gotten support from Innovation Norway and are producing around 500 liters of water an hour. So they've already sent the unit to Tanzania and have blocked the deal in Cameroon. And this is cool, because this shows that youth really have the opportunity to do something big. They have the opportunity to create startups that actually make a difference. It's not just talking, it's actually doing. And this is part of the impact that we're able to have in the world through our program. But we thought, okay, we have very few participants. We're not really able to reach that many people, so how can we expand that to talk to more people? So we thought, okay, why don't we start YSI local programs? So instead of just picking countries we wanted to start in, we thought, let's have people apply. So we had 114 applicants for starting locals, and we picked these ones. So the new locations were based upon where do we have good teams that actually want to bring this forward. And I can tell you that all these three happened this summer. They were a great success, and a lot of cool startups also came out of these programs. But this is locally driven by individuals in these regions. It's local applicants targeting local problems. Then you have the second one, which we call Earthpreneurs. So getting 10,000 applicants, you might think, okay, we have a lot of people, we're only taking in 25, what do we do with the rest of them? So we thought, okay, let's just build a Facebook group. That's the easiest thing to do. We just shoved them in there, and then around 3,000 came in, but nothing more happened. We didn't facilitate it, we didn't really do anything with the community, so he said it was a pretty steady one. So this year we thought, okay, now we have another group of around 8,000 people, so what do we do with them? So instead of just having a group, we actually invited everyone in, and then we started building a community. So we had one guy focusing 100% on building up this global community and really interacting. And what's cool is that not only is it 8,000 people in the group, but around 4,000 were active the last month. That's over half of them. And I don't know how much you know about this type of social group, but engagement rate of 50%, that's really high. But then again, we thought, how can we do even more? We have one big group, it's kind of hard to facilitate, it's hard to figure out how people can interact locally. So we thought, okay, we're doing this as a grassroots movement, why don't we just say, hey, who wants to be a country leader of Earthpreneurs in their country? That took off, and now we have around groups in around 60 countries. So that means that in 60 countries we have local communities with local leaders that are varying in size from 5 to 1,000. So it's a pretty big gap, but it's really seeing that there is a really movement going on. And we've seen that they've met up all over the world. So we've had meetups, as you can see, in Nepal, Nigeria, Myanmar, Iraq, just to mention a few, where they come together, discuss, have a workshop, figure out what can we do in the local context. How can we take the problems that we see here and actually do something with it? And then it comes over to partnerships, because we know that we could not do this without our partners. And one of the partners we've been working very closely with over the last 7 months is Yara. So there's many different things we've done together with you guys, and one of them is a workshop. So this year we brought all the participants into Yara's headquarters and have them actually solve problems that Yara are working with, to give them novel insight, and to great success. Just an example here from the EVP, Helene, who just thanks for all the work that we've done and all the passion we're putting in. And the list doesn't stop, it goes on and on about kind of the good words about the workshop. So it's really cool to see that these individuals, we knew they were amazing, but we didn't know kind of how much they could actually do in one day. And for us, it's not always easy working with large corporates, and we don't always know what are we actually going to be able to deliver. But being able to kind of see this and see what they were able to produce during a day, that really shows they were able to give value back to these organizations, which is really important to us. We're also hosting an Earthpreneur event this evening, so that's going to be a lot of fun. We're gathering youth from all around Oslo, and the startups will pitch their ideas, and there will also be different types of activity rooms. So that's also done together with Yara. We also done some other things. We tried out Inside Factory. So basically we had, during the program, the participants had 1 week where they spent solving issues for corporates, and to great success. So it was also a validation of what you guys were able to do. You guys are the participants that are sitting in the back there. Were able to do in only a week. So we had customers from Coca-Cola, Orkla, Melby, and we were really actually able to give novel insight that actually led to something afterwards. So if you want to, you can probably, there are participants from at least most of these countries here, so feel free to have a chat with them if you think this sounds interesting. And for next year's program, we're doing the same. So if you want to be ahead of the curve in one of the companies that gets to tap into the minds of young individuals next year, you can already start the discussion with us. And then I just want to kind of end off by thanking all our partners, because there's no way that we could do this without all of you guys. I want to especially thank Yara and Oslo and Akershus municipality for their support when it comes to the finances, because we need money to run these programs. And having kind of these organizations and companies that really back us and believe in us, that really helps a lot, and that's really, really important to us. And our mission is empowering youth to be able to solve the sustainability challenges by creating measurable impact. That's the dream. That's where we're going. That's where we're heading. And if you're a corporate in here that thinks, this sounds cool, this is something I want to be part of, I want to be a part of this movement, I want to be a part of changing the world drastically. Or you're an investor and you say, cool, this is something I want to get more tapped into, be more involved with. Come talk to us, and we'll find out if this is the right match for us. Because it's really important to have partnerships that give both ways. So it's not just a lump sum of money that gets thrown at us, we're more targeting towards partnerships. So be able to get something from you guys and also give back. Thank you very much. And with that, I'm going to let Didrik come up and tell it about the innovation program.
Thank you. Is mic on? Yeah, mic is on. Cool. So, I thought, because I never got the... It kind of goes like, oh. It's like inside your brain. It feels pretty interrupting. It's okay now? All right. Yeah, because I actually never got a chance to actually tell it from the program's perspective, like the nerd side of things, which I mean is the cool side of things. And I know Lars here agrees with me. He's like, yeah, let's get it going, man. So I'm just gonna get it going. So the YSI process goes from January to August. We picked the participants late March, so I'm just going to jump to March because Marcus told a little bit about the funneling process. Our main challenges is quite big. Being young. The reason, statistically, the successful startups are created by co-founders, which is about an average of 45 years old. It's about 20 to 25 years older than, it's okay, I think I have a loud voice, like, people hear me. 45 years old is the average age, and the harder the field, such as oil and offshore, it's going up 2 years more. So being young is a hard life. That's why you see a lot of shoelace apps, which I call them, which is basically creating apps which has no fundamental, need in society. You just try to create it. You try to shout it into people's faces, and you hope they buy it. So number two, second. So Keith Sawyer is a researcher in creativity, and he says that it's shown that people who actually come up with breakthroughs in sort of science usually have about 10 years plus deeply involved in that subject, very specific subjects as well. So there are some issues we have to deal with there. Working remotely, I can think most of you can imagine that it's hard to create something, especially when they never met each other before. So these people, they meet online, we put them together in teams, and they never met each other before, which sounds counterintuitive, it sounds illogical, and I'm not going to say the last word, but it's an extreme challenge to try to work together from scratch online. So you just gotta, when you see the teams afterwards, you have to remember what they've actually done. They met each other for the first time in real life 2 weeks ago, all right? And the third thing is breakthrough innovation. So breakthrough innovation is systematic changes in society based on your solution. It could also be in other fields, but breakthrough solutions. So for me, incremental innovation is not innovation. That's incremental, creating something a little better. But for me, I don't look at it as innovation, not through my lens. So trying to create, breakthrough innovation in any part of society, it's not up to you necessarily. You can be as good as you want, but it's usually external factors that has to align. And then again, mic on. So these three is our main big sort of challenges, which starts us off from a bad point. The program starts, back in late March, and it goes on until they come to Oslo for 2 weeks. They go through, they don't have anything, they never met each other before. And we're supposed to take them sort of close as possible to product market fit. There's 4 types of breakthrough innovation in our lenses. It's political, social, technical, and science. And just to take an example on political, just last week it was announced that France is banning the use of new plastic when it comes to food packaging. All right? This is in 2025, but from next year they'll start tax it. So it's getting real pretty fast. So what happens in these political decisions is that it's trickled down to different fields. It goes out a possibility for new startups to emerge, new technology that is already invented to actually get to market. So it also, goes out to other political areas as well. And it sets a pressure. So when those types of things happen, it's a change in fundamental things in society. Social innovation, from our viewpoint, that's a social movement. It could be the green movement, but it could also be Me Too, which is the most recent big one. So Me Too is a social innovation in the regards that it actually goes out in society and creates a change in fundamental levels. It's creating such a big, it shows the big mess in the world in a large scale, and things is starting to happening in some sense. Not enough though. And thirdly is technical innovation, where our biggest focus is. It's trying to take something from anyone, based on any one of the other innovations, and take it to market. It could be a product, it could be a service, it could be something technical that changes the way people operate. And lastly is science innovation, which is scientific innovation when it comes to knowledge. So a breakthrough in knowledge means that it changes the way people perceive the world. And when people perceive the world differently, they tend to act differently, both political, socially, and technical. So it's all combined as well. Our program, and this looks maybe dumb. All right, so our program is based on this. The starting point of anything is trying to understand it the best way possible. Without understanding, you won't get anywhere. And I'm not suggesting that you're supposed to understand everything before you start. I'm saying that you should try to understand at least the context you're living or going into. You don't go to China to work if you haven't read a little bit about the Chinese culture, because you're going to be spit out the moment you walk into the first building. And you got to have a place you want to end up, so you need a desired end goal. So this is the structure that we try to structure the whole program for, and you could basically use it for any sort of action you'll take. And to get to a desired end state, you need some sort of guidelines on the road, usually called part goals. We call them checkpoints because we don't create the goals for the participants, they make them themselves. And on the road, when you have these goals, you usually have different things. So in the program, they basically have community. They have mentors and partners, knowledge, tools, and money and access. Those are the four main tools that they have on their disposal. But in the end, if you're trying to, like school is put up, it's basically this is what you have to do and then you'll become this. It doesn't work like that in real life. So when we trying to create, entrepreneurs that are better than they were before they came into the program, we cannot tell them what to do exactly. We can push them, we can argue with them, and we can show them different knowledge, and we can ask them to check out stuff, but we can never tell them what to actually do, because in their situation, they're the one who has to make the decision. They're living in the complex reality. It's their own startup, so they are living in the complex reality. So we're trying to figure out the balance between, system and freedom when it comes to helping young people create entrepreneurship. Because as I said, a problem with being young is that the most successful startups is an average age of 45, which means that young people usually need more structure than they think. All right. This is how the past few months, how we gather data to scientifically iterate our program to become better and better each year. So last year we had about 0 out of 5 within product, MVP, or prototype, and a good pilot. This year we have 6 out of 8. So it's a difference from last year because we are doing it this way. We're not trying to pretend like we know what innovation is, but we sure as hell is trying to figure out what it is. That is our, mission. So experience-based learning, when we go through this, we have a lot of people in different countries that are taking these startups through the program. We have a structured test in various context settings and cultures in different countries in the world, and with a lot of different people from all over the globe. It hasn't been one continent that we haven't had people from. We have a lot of depth interviews. We do a lot of data gathering during the program. And all of this combined with 6 to 8 months of research after the program is finished tomorrow, then that's how we work. So we work scientifically to try to figure out what works or not. And sometimes it just becomes harder every time we have a new insight. We don't know what to do with it. So we try to do different things based on our assumption that it will work. And we'll basically see if it works, because we can do. And we can test it in different contexts as well. Next steps is trying to make this impact even further. And to do that, we need to make a scalable model of this program. We have a program, we have a lot of knowledge, and we have a community. Combine that into an online program, we can do a lot more in the world. And secondly, corporate innovation programs. As we've had several companies interested in actually creating an innovation program where we engage youth into the companies as well as helping them, provide new types of innovations. So yeah, this is the main goal of YSI, creating measurable impact by creating breakthrough solutions for sustainability, or that's from the program's viewpoint. Thank you so much for listening. Side chat people can come up on the stage, please, and this mic can be turned on. So we're gonna hear a little bit about the journey that they've actually went through, because I can, sell it and make it look awesome, but on the reality side, it doesn't look like that at all. So how does it really look like? And I have no idea what they're gonna say, so I'm just crossing my fingers on the inside there. And I should have drinking water. Now I have a triple latte here, so it's
Yeah, what I'm going to say.
Hello? Yep. I think you guys can just quickly present a little bit about yourself. Here you go.
Well, hello guys. I'm Alex from Madrid. Well, in short, I graduated in economics and politics. I came here with kind of like huge expectations that went way beyond what I expected at the beginning. So yeah, I guess it's a massive pleasure to be here with you guys, present what we have been doing, enjoying the moment, and see where all this goes.
Wow, my voice is terrible on microphone, but okay. I'm Ana from Brazil. I'm studying electrical engineering. I'm a second-year student. And for the last 3 years, I have been involved with studies about clean energy and sustainable cities. And it's a big pleasure to be here with you guys.
Hi, I'm Himanshu. I'm from India. I'm submitting my PhD, which is on the boundary of robotics, psychology, and philosophy. So I've been working in the field of sustainability for past 2 years, and it's wonderful to be here.
Hi, I'm Madhav, and I'm from Bangalore in India. I'm a user interaction designer, and I think the last 2 weeks have just shown me that there are so many great minds that I can interact with in such a short time and learn so much. So I'm extremely happy to be here as well.
Hi everyone, I'm Keaton from South Africa, and I'm a medical student with a past history of the Bachelor's of Pharmacy and Pharmacology. Where to start? It's just been a fantastic 2 weeks, primarily because you never think that something that you're starting so remotely with a bunch of different individuals is actually going to come to fruition when you get to a place, after not meeting them face to face. But it's just been such a fantastic journey to be able to see how selfless everyone is when it comes to wanting to help each other specifically, even if it isn't their startup. So to know that we're also interlinked, it's been an absolute privilege.
Hello, I'm Halima. I'm from the UK. I have a background in chemical engineering and have basically been working in industry ever since. Started in manufacturing engineering with 3M, moved into materials research and engineering with Jaguar Land Rover, and now have moved into the product strategy side of Jaguar Land Rover. And I think I'd just like to let you know I'm probably one of the oldest in this group. And that's probably my claim to this. So it's amazing to learn things from people, can I say, younger than me. It's amazing to see what they've achieved, and it's amazing to be considered one of them and part of them. Yeah.
How old are you again?
25. Yeah. I've never felt so old. Yeah.
All right, just let's get a change of scenery here. Yeah, there we go. That's good. All right. Oh. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a little dark. Life is a little dark. All right, Halima, how do you apply for a program like this, working remotely with people you don't know? I don't get it.
So there's a few things. So I think one of the goals I've set myself is that I want to do something sustainable, like an innovation lab or something like this, every year. So last year I was part of Unleash Innovation Lab, which was the first 1,000 person innovation lab that was held in Denmark. And from there I heard about YSI this year. And the thing I loved about it was that it was a 5-month remote program that I could do with work, as long as I was willing to sacrifice my life, which clearly I am. So it worked. I haven't had weekends for the past 5 months. But more than that, on a more serious note, I saw a model that resonated with me, which I think we all know about the model that you do things that it's economically sustainable, you have a passion for it, and you're good at it. But this model, the Ikigai model, it had a 4th level, which was you have a bigger purpose than yourself. And that totally resonated. And being in industry, you don't always get that. So that's basically why I wanted to work on YSI, and it worked quite nicely. Yeah.
Nice. You can pass the mic to Keaton, actually.
Great.
All right, so, getting to a program with 90,000 people competing with you. I don't know, how is that process of competing as well as succeeding?
So it's quite a difficult antic to grasp, because I actually heard about YSI from one of my friends, and they're like, okay, cool, I'm going to do some research about it, see what it's all about, and then bam, 10,000 applicants the year before. So you're like, okay, cool, 10,000 applicants. No, that's a pretty big number. Globally, it's quite a competition, and then you find out, okay, bam, 25 people only get chosen. So at that point, what's going through your mind is, okay, it's going to be a process. There's a very good chance I'll get it, definitely. But we'll go with it anyways. And then you go through the first phase, and they knock it down to the top 15%. And at that point, you're like, okay, great. You keep telling yourself, no, this is probably as far as I'm gonna get. But it's great to be here, knowing you're top 15% in the world. It feels great. Then you get to the top 3% or the top 2%, if I'm not mistaken. And then you're like, okay, cool. And the questions in the application process was some of them were very odd. I remember one of them, which is just resonating with me now, is if I had 50 days left in my life, what would I do? And it's a very general question, but although it's general, you tend to tap back into your own personal life, and you're like, sure, what would I do? And I feel like that's definitely something that resonates with all of us, is that those 50 days weren't just 50 days. You couldn't put 50 days in a continuum. And the fact that we were being able to get to a point where we're able to make this impact and succeed at it, it feels pretty amazing. So back to my little plot of rounds that we went through, and then you get to the interview stage. And I had Marcus in my interview, and I remember sitting there, and I'm like, shoo, this is going to be intense. And I'm sitting, and my internet connection cut out. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, great. Quickly just bought data on my phone. I was ready to jump into things. It cut again. And I'm just sitting like, you know what, it's over. I might as well just go back to my studies, open my file. Then I got an email from Marcus saying, no, it's okay, we got everything we wanted. Now, when you get that, you're kind of at the point of, okay, this means one of two things. One, I'm probably not going to get it. And two, I'm probably not going to get it. So then came the point, they said, no, you'll know by next week, Wednesday, whether you've got it or not. And I was actually doing washing, and conveniently the laundromat was broken, so I was hand washing. And then I got the email on my phone, and then it said, YSI final results. And I look on my phone, and then conveniently, just in typical Didrik fashion, there was a big paragraph of absolutely no text. So it literally leads you, no, there was a bunch of great applicants this year. And when you read that, you're automatically like, oh, okay, just get to the point. And then it's like, but the result of your application is big gap. So you literally have to scroll to the end. And then by the time you're scrolling, you get to the actual thing, and you're like, we are pleased to inform you are part of the YSI program. And then you read it again. And just to make sure you didn't misread it, you go back to the top of the paragraph, scroll down again, and you read it again. And then it takes literally about 2 to 5 minutes for it to actually sink in. It's like, hey, out of 8,500 people globally, because I know all of us here have been able to do something remarkable when it comes to our national, like competitions back home in our little closed environments, and you sit there and you're like, wow, who do I tell first? Do I call my mom? Do I just randomly go outside the laundromat and shout I've been chosen for YSI? Like, you don't know where to start. And the feeling is so surreal. I mean, even sitting here speaking to all of you, it still doesn't feel real. And we've gone through all of this. We've made startups, and it's just been absolutely fantastic. So, feelings, lots of them. The main one, success and surrealism. But overall, I would probably go through the application process again, but just with a lot more expectation about being able to look at myself and see myself as someone that is actually able to make a difference in the world. So ultimately, I hope that answers your question.
You're such a good storyteller that going over time, that's cool, man.
Bad.
And just to make it clear, when I sent the mail, you scroll down, it doesn't say like, oh, you're, by the way, well, you're in the program. It's caps lock,
Yeah.
and it's like, you're in the program, oh my God. So it's bigger than that. Anna, I would like to know your expectations before, when you applied before the program, and how the program actually was.
I will be quick. Otherwise, they're gonna kill me. No, but yeah, one of my concerns before, like, really work with my team was like, oh my God, working with people that I never met before and remotely. I was questioning myself, if that's gonna work. And yeah, it was like when we started, was kind of weird because I didn't have sure if our work was like something concrete, because it's weird that you will work remotely with someone. And then was when the program started and all these months has receiving support from YSI crew and all the kinds of tools that they provide, was like, oh my God, my work is real. Like, was as I was working with my, I don't know, my colleagues. And when I arrived here, it was like if I already met them for a long time ago. It was kind of weird situation. Yeah.
Nice. Himanshu. So the thing is that once they started the program, we didn't have a lot of money, so we had to figure out how do we get them some money for MVP testing. So we decided that we're going to use their brains and they're going to work for it. So we basically reached out to some companies with the Inside Factory ID. And we got Melby, which is sitting over here. We got Coca-Cola, and we got Orkla. And these guys actually, they put a bet on us, basically, like, okay, let's see what you got, And can you please, like, because it was real money involved. They met each other for 2 weeks ago, and they worked with pre-learning, and now they're going to do a real case for 1 week. How was that done, really?
So, I guess there were many factors at place to that case study. One of them was that there was an excellent matchmaking on the part of YSI. So I had a lot of experience in researching technologies related to structural health monitoring. So they made sure that our team, me and Alex, combined expertise actually aligned with the problem statement which was given to us. So on the second part, the people from Malby who we were coordinating to, who were providing us the problem statement and who were providing us feedback, those were really interested people, as in they really wanted to solve the problem at workplace. So they gave us really insightful information about the problem. So it shaped that. The third part was about our team, as in we starting from there was a module on team building. So we needed to come up that what is it that we need in the team, and we made sure that we are very critical more than of each other, of ourselves, that we are very critical of the ideas we create. So in terms of that critical constant critical thinking, we went on to something which was very apt to the problem which was given to us. So that's it.
Awesome. Keaton. All right. So when they're in this part of the program, they've basically for 2 weeks started, the processes of creating trust and communication, team building, and so on. So they go further than to start researching the problem that they try to align on. So I just wanted to know the process from, and please make it as short as
Yeah,
possible.
got you. Chris.
How do you go from literally sort of nothing, which is like a whole SDG or something, and trying to find a problem that is more defined?
So, short and sweet, it was research. But I think I'll elaborate a little bit more on that. We utilized a topic called triple research. So that was basically throughout our team, we were able to, if I remember correctly, we did a video straight before we had the objective that was due. And we're like, okay, it's crunch time. We kind of need to come up with an idea. And I remember we were sitting there, okay, guys, so we chose healthcare, so SDG 3, good health and well-being, and we sat there and we're literally like, okay, so these are the problems that we experience based on our own experiences. And then we said, what is there something we can do in order to have measurable impact by the time we come to Norway? Just so we can have something on the page to work from. And I guess what we did is that we utilized the research in such a way whilst we were consulting with people, because we had quite a very nice pool of accessibility when it came to healthcare professionals in the field. And we used them to bounce ideas off of that we actually had. So we were getting real-time information which we could use in order to refine where we wanted to go and what direction we wanted to see. So yes,
Awesome.
that one.
Mr. Alex. So, once you have a problem statement and you think you have the concept, you kind of go further and you do more research and then you start iterating. So how did you get, you had a problem first, you started a concept and you kind of changed the problem. Like not you went deeper into the problem. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so that was quite a story. In a nutshell, we started working on this, on the development of a technology that would, monitor pipes and leaks. And then we'll also optimize the water distribution systems around different places, mostly in the developing world. But then doing some research, as Didrik said, we kind of like rapidly realized there was plenty of cool solutions already developed in this area. So we're kind of like, damn it, so what do we do now? So we dropped the idea. It would have been quite easy just to, pick up a new SDG, another project and start from scratch. But then out of nowhere, we kind of like thought, if there is so many solutions for a problem, why on earth do we still have hundreds of millions of people not having access to clean water today? So we started digging a bit more into this field and realized that, basically uncovered another problem that was much harder than we expected. So we're kind of like, damn it, so what do we do now? There is this problem, can we tackle it? We're not sure. But yeah, let's do this. So we kind of like went for it, right? We had like a bunch of passionate people here who do not want to settle for the conventional. So we just said, let's do this. And now it's been kind of like the ride we've been going on through for the past 5 months, and we hope it's gonna be like a life project from now on. Thank you very much.
All right, so last question, we're gonna just speed it up a little. Last question, Madav, he's haven't really talked yet, and the reason is that in this program, we figured that to get them to actually create prototypes, MVPs, and products, they need somebody, usually with skills that they don't have once they come up with the concept. So they were able to use our database to figure out new people that they could get into the team and get to Norway as co-founders. So Madav came in 2 months ago, maybe even less. So just tell us how is it to come into this program and then, being such a vital part all of a sudden in, that startup?
So before I got the call about YSI and about the program and the team, I'll just rewind a little bit. Like I went to art school and we worked with a lot of sustainable projects, and I was a filmmaker and an animator. So I never imagined that I would get into a corporate job right after college, which is art school. So, but that happened. And I started working in a corporate, and before you knew it, it's been like 2 years. And you have all these skills that you've picked up at art school, but you're not really making an impact. And I feel like it's kind of intimidating to say, I'm going to change my life completely and start doing something for the environment and for the world. But I realized that it's just like one phone call, and you kind of like just like tilt your head to the side and you have a different direction. And it all happens really easily. It's very organic. So that's exactly what happened. I got a call from someone I met 3.5 years ago, who I've never spoken to after that. But he kind of, it was like a hook that this is happening in Oslo. We're 8 different teams. We have a project in mind. And I was wondering if you're interested. And I was just like, yes, I am. I didn't even ask what the dates were. I didn't ask whether, whether I have to like quit my job or is this like a full-time commitment. I just said yes. And I think everything sort of happened really fast, but it felt like it was perfectly fit. Like it fit perfectly into my life because the project already had a direction and I kind of realized where I come in. And I think that is, I would have loved to be there right from the start where we had the conversations before we chose the problem and before we started. But I feel like I was chosen because of what I can offer and what I can add to the entire project. And that was clear right from the start. So I definitely have that advantage of that clarity. And things again, like it moved so fast that like I couldn't believe that I was going to be in Oslo either in like 2 weeks, but it happened. And now we're here and the project worked out and it sort of just like came together. And I didn't realize that my entire life would have changed so fast, but it did. It did. And yeah, I guess that answers your question a little
Yeah,
bit.
man. Thank you so much, and big applause to the participants. So we're just going to change the scenery for the pitches. Take 5 minutes, go to the toilet, or take some coffee, water, or something you'd like, maybe fresh air. 5 minutes, though. No, mind.
Hello. Hello. We're good to go. Cool. So that was kind of the introduction. Now we're going to go over to the real stuff, the reason why you're really here, the pitches of the YSI startups. And one thing that I forgot to mention earlier is I just also really want to thank all the mentors. So there's a few of you in the rooms here today. So mentors and webinar holders during the last the animation program. There have been a lot of mentors that have helped out a lot and helped the teams a lot and really kind of helped them get where they are today. So thank you so much to you guys. Before we go into the pitches, I want you guys to take a picture of this slide. So take up your phone or write down the number. So basically, during the presentation, if you're interested in either investing in a company or if you know someone that you think would be interested in kind of hearing more about this or wanting to get involved in some type of way, just send us an SMS here. So if you wanted to invest, then you will send, for example, your name, your email, the team number, and you can write that I'm wanting to invest. And then if you have an amount, you can write that. So it's non-binding. It's just so we get kind of an overview of what people are thinking, so we can link you together with the teams. And also if you have kind of contacts you think would be relevant, then say, I have a contact in this field, or this is the email to the contact, and then we can take it from there. But there will also be time for you guys to talk with the participants after and do that directly. But this is also a way of kind of doing it swiftly while during the presentations. So first I'm just going to start by representing our panels. We've got a pretty varied panel with us today. So we have Jan Erik, so he's from Storebrand. We have, you can wave. We have Anne from Bakken og Bekk. We have Ulva, who is from Kvart. You have Jørn from Ancient Challenge, and you have Sean from Catapult. So they will be giving some questions to the participants after the presentations. So with no further ado, I think we'll invite up Infomed on stage, and I hope you guys are all ready, on your toes, get ready.
How does this thing work, Marcus? Is it just like, okay. Oh, there's a clock. Great. Okay, don't start it yet, please. Ooh, is it? Okay, great. Okay, Didrik. 1, 2, 3, go. Good day, everyone. My name is Keaton Harris, a medical student from South Africa, and I am representing Infomed. Okay, so today there are many countries who have high amounts of languages as well as that of dialects. India, for one, has up to 10,000 plus dialects, and you can only imagine how difficult it is for a patient to get an accurate yet effective diagnosis. 93% of patients on chronic medication do not know what their medication does or even what conditions they have. And this is all due to language barriers. The consequence is language barriers results in an incorrect diagnosis, and this furthermore can result in, okay, I'm just going to use my voice. Do I need it? Okay, fine. We're on live stream. Okay, so carrying on. This can basically result in money wastage due to unnecessary tests being used and even that of worsened health and worst cases death. So our problem is, how can we create a more effective plan in order to refine the differential diagnosis of a patient by eliminating these language barriers? And I reckon many of you don't know what a differential diagnosis is. Simply put, it is the initial thought of a patient's diagnosis prior to the physical exam being performed. And just to put it on a continuum, differential diagnosis prior to the physical test, and that leads to treatment. So current solutions include Google Translate, which gives a 95% inaccuracy when it comes to translating medical terms. Furthermore, PubMed and Hippocrates, although it uses fantastic terms, many medical practitioners can't even understand what they're saying. And telephonic call centers implements a third party, which drastically increases the chances of miscommunication. So our solution, to provide an offline mobile application, which basically utilizes a language translation app on a 1:1 ratio before the physical exam. This is basically going to provide the physician with autonomy and the patient with a comfortable experience. So our demo, let me just slide to the right. Okay, well, there we go, and click play. Basically, the doctor and the patient will choose their languages. The doctor will ask a specific question, translate it, then the patient will have the opportunity to respond. From that specific point, it is then translated again, and the doctor has the ability to do any specific follow-up questions in order to make sure they're able to get the most accurate yet representative way at which the patient is feeling. So back to this. Our market currently is very large, with the amount of immigrants as well as the amount of people that are traveling on a daily basis. Approximately $2 billion was spent on healthcare interpreting service in the 2017 year. Just imagine what we're able to do, specifically if we're able to utilize our application and able to avenue these $2 billion into other specific areas. So our business model includes, who do we target? Healthcare professionals. How do we do it? Monthly subscriptions by means of credit card or debit card services by Google App Store and Apple Play Store. Target market, initially doctors, utilizing a buy one, gift one approach just to get our market out there. And in the future, we hope to partner with medical organizations, travel insurance companies, as well as that of non-government organizations. Our future plans include PDF exports, so basically towards a central database. This means that the patient will have an actual record when they go from a specific area to another area, even when they are referred, so they don't have to go through the exact same process over and over again. Finally, one of our main goals is to actually implement a voice-based aspect where you speak into the microphone itself. So to provide some context, Doctors Without Borders gave us some information regarding 27 cents per minute. The cost on a 10 to 15 minute consultation is $4.07. Using our app, you will have 3 to 5 minutes being saved, which results in a saving of $1.37. This basically means that for every 4 patients that you are able to treat, you have the potential to save yet another. So our team. Our team consists of 2 individuals who are primarily within the medical field, as well as 2 technological experts. We believe we are the best team in order to tackle this because we have the dedication to see this through, as well as the resources that are directly available to us. Currently, we are looking for $25,000 in order for investments to occur. This is obviously excluding any salaries because we do want to go into this and get it running by the beginning of the year. So our main objective is to provide quality medical care for all human beings, independent of country, culture, and linguistic barrier. We do have a website as well as that of an Instagram page, so please do follow us for live updates. And I have 2 seconds left, so I'm going to wrap it up. We look forward to speaking to you later. Thank you so much. Oh, we have questions.
Thank you very much. Now over to some questions from the panel.
Thanks very much. That's really exciting, and it obviously addresses a real need. Now, my question would be, your revenue stream. So, who will be the
and above a monetary value? So that is more specifically within the public sector. And I didn't only speak to some doctors, I spoke to some other allied health professionals as well. This was primarily your physiotherapists, occupational therapists, dietitians, dentists, you name it. Because in the future, you could even create, what we actually want to do as well, is create specific categorical information specific to these different disciplines of healthcare. And we feel that they'll be willing to pay, and you can't really put a price on someone's life. So.
Well said. I think beautiful solution, perhaps complex on the back end, but very simple on the front end, which is exactly what you want here. How do you think about distribution, though? How do you really get massive scale? Have you explored opportunities with people that will give you distribution, or what would be your plans in that area?
So we have had a contact with Doctors Without Borders primarily because we know we are tackling a solution which there are a million different types of dialects and languages around the world. And they are actually the core hub when it comes to having doctors that are both fluent in English as well as another language. So what we actually want to do is to establish that trust barrier with patients, is that we want to allow the doctors to perform the translations and then credit them within the app itself. So I think that would put the patient at ease because you're seeing, okay, this is actually a legitimate translation from a doctor and not just someone who possibly took an interpretation course for 2 weeks. So primarily, we want to target them because we feel their revenues and their localization potential is a lot more. So they're able to reach out to a wider variety of individuals. But from there, we want to actually set up in India where we feel there's higher need there and then scale from there towards other developing countries where we see there's a need.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have team 8. So welcome Ishan up on stage.
So textile industry is the second largest polluter in the world. It accounts for 17 to 20% of all greenhouse gas emissions. Also, we quite know this, animal exploitation for conventional hide-like leather has been the norm for eons now. The current production cycle creates a lot of carbon emissions, in addition to the fact that there's been a declining clothing utilization per capita over the last 15 years. All this means that the problem is only insurmountable, and we need radical solutions to change the current context. Our current model of linear take, make, dispose is outdated and needs disruption. Being here and seeing elsewhere, the recycling economy is big. However, it has its limitations, as it only delays the onset of waste in landfills and incinerators. It does not eliminate it. We at Viscoli envisage a circular economy in fashion, where we actually use biofibers to actually make our clothing. We're different from other sustainable clothing startups or companies in the sense that we do not use that many resources like water and energy to actually make up a product. Organic cotton startups use a ton of water and energy. Viscoli literally stands for vegan SCOBY leather, SCOBY being the acronym for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. So we envision a world where our leather is grown, worn, and disposed of in our backyard, just like normal food. So it's a circular system. And the philosophy we are following is, nature knows no waste. So why not actually source our clothing directly from nature's biological processes? We are actually exploiting the process of fermentation. To get into a little bit of specifics, this is the kind of stages we've covered over the last 2 months. Ours has been an accelerated project here in YSI. So initially we take tea, sugar and water and let it ferment for 15 to 20 days, beyond which we actually clean it and test it for different kinds of strength capabilities. We found it's pretty durable. And the kind of disruption that we're looking at the current textile industry is there's a lot of layers. You go through spinning, knitting, and it's a lot of resource consumption. Eliminating all that and actually letting the culture sit for 15 to 20 days is all that's required to spin fibers, biofibers. So our current business model is B2B. We are envisioning ourselves to be a supplier to bigger brands who actually reach the market and then retail it to the consumer. Our products are going to be gloves and wallets to start off with, and then move on to a little more complicated products like jackets and shoes. These are the timelines of our development. In the next 3 months, we'll be perfecting our prototypes, rapidly testing it for different environmental conditions, and then rolling out the product by February next year. Currently, it's a 2-man team, and we're back in Bangalore. The mad scientist behind this, Richard, is right now culturing a kombucha. And the ask right now is $30,000, and that's all for R&D, because right now we're scaling up from R&D to actually create a tangible product out into the market. It's going to be mostly for actually getting more hands on deck, infrastructure in terms of facilities to grow kombucha at scale, and connecting and collaborating with like-minded companies and peers. This is the impact. Apart from disrupting a potential $100 billion leather industry, we're also tackling these SDGs, which is what the program is about. And finally, in the developing world, this has been a huge problem, a lot of textile waste ending up in landfills. So how can we get away from it? Microbes are the factories of the future. The question is whether we are in it right now or not. Thank you. And this is actually the SCOBY leather that we've cultured back in Bangalore.
Very cool. Thank you very much. Can we get some questions from the panel? Let's start.
Oh, yeah. You want to have a look and probably.
Thank you for a great presentation. In the B2C segment, it's really important to get to the need behind the need. In this case, you're selling in the B2B.
Correct.
So I think it would be think carefully about what would trigger. What are the key decision points for that purchasing manager that would make him take the risk what would be the barriers to entry, basically? Because normally people hate change, and particularly in the B2B segment.
So a lot of fashion designers per se and companies looking at sustainability as a big value to their brand nowadays are looking at such innovations. There's a European company called Evonik who's actually already investing in innovation research like this. So B2B, we feel, and partnering with the right companies would be the right way to go to actually accelerate the vision of a circular economy in fashion rather than actually going B2C right now.
We have another question from...
I think it's very creative, very cool alternative to. There's some companies they're kind of producing meat in a lab,
Right.
or like a meat
Lab-grown meat.
substitute, yeah, or leather in a lab. So I was just kind of same question. Like, have you started partnering? We started working with partners, and do you get some feedback from companies like the one dimensions and what?
Not yet with companies. So as I said, we've done this only for 2 months back in Bangalore, and we are trying to we've perfected the culturing and fermentation process, and now we're moving into stage 3 of our research, where we'll be prototyping different kinds of gloves and shoes, and then actually doing user feedback. Beyond which, we are planning to partner with like-minded companies. Right now, currently in India, there aren't such options for collaborations, and hence I feel being in Europe is a great way to leverage such connections.
Thank you very much for the question, and thank you very much for the presentation. Great job. So next up we have team 2. So you want to come up on stage?
Is that working? Or, all right. Sorry, a little hard to tell from here. All right. Oh, cool. Hey, so my name is William, and my co-founders are Anna and Steven, and together we're EasyGrid, bridging the gap between the energy sector and the different communities. So the projections for energy usage is quite high. We'll be at 28% in increase by 2040. And this is quite bad because right now, our electricity mostly comes from fossil fuels. But we did notice something good, positive in our research. When users were aware of their energy habits and had the means to act upon it, they were actually more sustainable. For example, in Texas, they were able to have on certain days 50% production from wind energy because of the open market and users who were aware of and buying into clean energy. So for us, the most feasible means of tapping into this analytical data was through smart meters. Unfortunately, people aren't particularly excited about it. 92% of people are not even aware that they have this information, and those who are aware are not seeing the returns that they were promised. So this is a problem because in the United States, already half of all American homes have smart meters, and it's projected to be 90 million by 2020. Now, that's a big problem if you don't address the issues of smart meters. So, enter EasyGrid. We offer 3 core solutions: Easy Info, Easy Habit, and Easy Trading. With this, we provide real-time information, grid health, and also the capability to trade with local green energy producers. Now, what's unique about our solution is the inclusion of sustainable and social psychology. People oftentimes give up pursuing sustainable actions after a while, and so to tap into that kind of sustained action, we realize that people like it when they are able to see what their neighbors are purchasing and using. Having a means for them to see their rewards and means for them to trade those rewards into products for sustainable businesses, and also a means for them, oh wow, that just got much louder, to track their, and for means for them to see how green they are over a period of time. And so, in order for this to work, we need to partner up with all aspects of sustainability, and that includes the utilities, the smart technologies themselves, and also local sustainable businesses. Now, we have a few, but because we haven't defined the terms yet, we didn't mention them specifically, but these are crucial for points to be covered later. So our business model, we serve as a middleman of sorts and offer a discounted marketplace for people to pursue sustainable actions. An interested user will look at the challenges that we offer depending on grid health or their consumption rates, and from there offer them suggestions in the form of, say, smart thermostats or smart tech, or local businesses, for example, a sushi restaurant nearby. And so this helps us build a community of sorts that's founded upon one's energy usage. So our competitors include Grid Plus and other energy access companies that let you tap into the insight that your smart meter provides. On the other hand, we also have companies that are more interested in sustaining that interest. So we have Jewelbug or Switch. The problem is that they don't really bridge the two gaps. They either focus too much on energy consumption or they focus too much on the habits. And so our solution bridges both. We offer a gamified incentive model where you earn rewards for being sustainable, and from there you can trade those points in for discounts at businesses. We partner up with utilities, smart tech companies, and sustainable local businesses to form this community. And lastly, it's an all-in-one system, so you don't have to go through web apps or SMSs or look for sustainable actions through a variety of platforms. Now, looking forward, we are planning to finish our UI prototype by November. From there, we can reach out to our local utility and begin a pilot program, sending out our app with the smart meters and tapping into homeowners and seeing how they interact with the app. From there, we'll begin to build our database, launch a blockchain network so energy trading can be secured with smart contracts. And lastly, around wintertime, that's when peak demand usage is particularly high, and we'll be able to look into the information and see whether or not we're actually helping people solve problems regarding energy saving and costs. So yeah, thank you for listening, and let's get some questions, I guess.
Thank you very much. Now we have some questions from the panel.
Yep. Have you done your market research? I mean, it sounds good. It's going to be a big market, but it seems like there are a lot of other players out there that try to do very similar things.
Right, absolutely. And this was definitely an issue that we came across multiple times, and also what inspired us to change our solution multiple times. But I still do think that the attempts to build that sustained interest is lacking. There isn't really a means to address how people can be sustainable beyond just a day or a week. And building that model is, I think, paramount. And then in cases where sustained interest is most important, they lack the financial and business models to really propagate that forward. So I think our solution of combining reaching out to local businesses, but also providing incentives for people to compete against each other and be more green is, I think, what makes us unique. Do you have any input?
Thank you very much. Do we have another question? Yeah.
I think the idea about, people want to do the right thing, but they're at the same time they need immediate reward, either through gamification or other kind of bonus points and similar. So that's great. We see the same thing in savings. I think that idea is good. I would, building on the question here earlier, I think you should think carefully whether you want to build a broad network in a more restrained local area, so you can sort of really capitalize on this bonus point model, or you want to focus on a certain, for instance, energy uses or whatever in a more wider space. And I think that's a decision you need to take. So I don't know whether you thought about it, but
Right. Would you like us to answer that, or?
Yeah, what do you think?
It was a
Do you want to sort of go for a niche in one area, or do you want to sort of expand the network more locally?
I guess I'll start off first. For me, I think the two are interconnected. One's energy habits is directly related to how they interact with their local businesses. And seeing that they're not alone in pursuing and being more sustainable, I think helps add to the whole social incentive.
Thank you.
All right, that works.
Also, one of the issues that we have seen with similar models, such as City Opt, which is a pilot program that occurred in areas of France, is that they had the information and focus on a grid network, but they didn't have the partnerships, and so they had a lot of difficulty maintaining that sustained interest, as well as being able to provide the rewards for their community. So the way that we have tried to move forward is by focusing on the niche in New Haven, Connecticut, which is where we'll start, kind of solidify the networks with local businesses there, make sure that it's actually providing the incentive enough for people to be interested and sustain their interests, as well as enabling the energy to be traded there, because Connecticut is one of the most sustainable states in the United States.
Sounds like a good idea.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, next up we have team 4. So, Usama, come up on stage.
Hello. So we are Riesh. So this is basically a regular street in Oslo, like you see that on everyday basis. And this is a street in Dhaka, which has just been cleaned. And this right here is basically 0.56 kgs of trash. Now why this decimal level precision? Basically this is the same amount of trash which is being produced by every single person in Dhaka right now. Multiply this amount with the population of 17 million and you have 10,000 tons of trash which is being, you can say, generated by Dhaka alone on daily basis. Now the thing is, what they usually do is, most of the trash is lost in between the chain. So the only thing they do, right, like the most convenient thing for them is to burn it. I can give you a live demo as well, like I have the thing with me, but I guess it would be off the charts right now. So basically, what you are seeing right now is a value chain of waste management systems in developing countries, specifically speaking, countries in Asia. How it's done is that it's basically the job of the government to build infrastructure and to make management systems and all. And we're not going towards recycling yet. Recycling, upcycling, processing of the trash comes later on. We are talking about the management in itself or the containment plan. Almost 30% of the trash actually reaches its destination, out of which 15% gets processed in these countries. And here I'm talking about Dhaka alone. So most of the trash ends up in landfills, either get burnt and goes into the rivers, polluting the air, polluting the, you can say, water underneath. So in order to tackle that, there is a shadow, you can say, informal structure, which is driven by the people themselves, by the community. What happens is, waste pickers, which are being paid by the house, although it's the job of the government, take these materials, and there is no habit of sorting, by the way, in Asia. So waste is collected as such, in a collective form. These waste pickers then sort the waste, take it to level 0 aggregators. These level 0 aggregators deal in specific kind of niches. And these people go to the hoarding facilities where they hoard these waste materials in terms of different niches, and then that is sold to the recycling facility. Now the thing is, these two people create the monopoly because there is no accountability, it's a shadow infrastructure, and there is no digital, you can say, tech layer on them to like process what is going on. If we somehow get rid of the exploitation and the monopoly of these two, we can come up with a very good containment plan. And that is where Riesh comes in. We are basically like Uber, but for trash. What we do is that we are digitizing, connecting, and gamifying the existing infrastructure. So the thing which has to be highlighted is, unlike our competitors or alternatives in these markets, we would not be managing our own fleet, which gives us the access of better scalable markets, and we do not require more capital to go around it. Now, we are a digital waste platform, and this might raise some eyebrows that in a country where not many people, like almost 50% people have smartphones and all, how would be able to like operate? So basically, specific fact check is that in these countries, the economy is growing. The mobile penetration is an all-time high. 3G and 4G is going all across. So what we have done is that we are trying to architect the social behavior in itself firstly, and then we would actually pursue what Uber pursues. Right now, our model is pretty simple. So a particular household would come to our platform and request to schedule a free pickup. Then we would reach out a rehash agent, which is essentially a informal laborer. He would go to their house, pick up the trash, sort it out, and it would be taken to the recycling facility. Recycling facility would pay us, and then we would pay back that guy. This is what it looks like. They are collecting the trash, they are sorting it out. This is like proper plastic related level 0 aggregator. This goes out into the recycling form, and this is how it is recycled. There's already some market research regarding numbers and all, so you can see the numbers are already there. It's a very profitable model. This is our platform. It's a very simple platform for starters. It's a 3-tier program. You simply come and proceed with the free pickup you would get. Later on, what we plan to do is that we'll come to that later on because it's pretty futuristic. We would be announcing our own cryptocurrency in terms of gamifying. But right now, we are trying to change the social behavior. They actually sort different kind of stuff like this, but they do not do that in the households. We are trying to tackle that with this one. Once that is done, we would bring in hyper-localization, and we would bring in, like, we would open this platform for essentially anyone to, like, pick trash from point A to point B, and then they would become our you can say agents as well. And this is what we are. So stop trashing, start rehashing.
Thank you very much.
Wow, if you can do that, I want to invest. That's cool.
Thank you.
So is it going to work? What's your, what you do the first 3 months? What do you need to make this work?
Exactly. So we have ran our pilots. We have, in fact, in our live stream right now, there are some recycling facilities in Dhaka who actually messaged us that we are seeing you right now as well. They are actually our earliest customers. They have decided that they would pay us. Now the thing with trash is, people want to get rid of it anyway. In fact, they pay those people to get rid of it. We are simply incentivizing them that they can get rid of their trash for free via our platform. So there are no doubts in terms of the business model. Yes, in terms of scalability, yes, there might be some question marks, but we have figured it all out because we are from the same vicinity. I'm from Pakistan, Shu is from India. Elaine is American, but she has lived most of her part in Asia in itself. We have our network all sorted out. Right now in Dhaka, we have 200 plus volunteers who have signed up that they would work with us on this platform. And yes, this brings us to the question, we are looking for investment. We won't say how much just yet. We would like to get in room with you guys so that we can discuss this thing. But yes, we do want investment, and we are pretty sure that it would work in terms of a scalable model.
So a fantastic concept. So I'm really hoping that you'll be able to make this work and make it scale. And I've been on the board of a recycling company here in Norway. So lots of exciting opportunities, I think, also in other markets. But so my question is, in many countries, including in Norway and not least Italy, you talk about a waste mafia. So, that it is recycling and waste is a really dirty industry, right? And you pointed out to this here as well. So my question is, to what extent do you see this as a risk? Because you'll basically be taking their revenue stream. So what are the risks and potentially dangers, and how will you be managing those?
This is very important. Like this right now is an informal shadow, you can say, infrastructure, which are competing with each other. So they are actually cutthroat competitors on ground, and they do not have a central database to see who is in the market. We would just enter the market with just like yet another competitor right there. But what we have is the power of digitization. We are not going to this guy that you have to bring waste to them. We are going to the consumer that you have to give waste to only our rehash agents, and we are simply bypassing every single line, and we are going to the recycling facility. But to answer your question, we have also talked to, so I consulted the government of Pakistan as well on the entrepreneurial and tech circle. I've talked to the government, and they have given us full support because they actually want to get rid of their trash, you can say, problem in itself. And since you said like you have sat on the board of a Norwegian company, so just to make sure that investors are in line with us, we are planning to incorporate our company in Norway, which would be more easier for the investors to like check and all, and but we would be operating in these markets. And just to give an idea that if a Norwegian company is coming to this region, and Scandinavia is pretty famous for their cleanliness and their developed infrastructure, so it already increases our stakes in terms of work and all.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. We can burn this one if you
Thank you very much. Let's bring up the next team. Team 6. No, way more first.
And hold on. You guys want to come in? Is this on? Can you guys hear me? There we go. Cool. So let me tell you a very interesting story. This is how our ocean should be, but sadly, this is how it's turning out to be. Clearly, we've got a problem, guys. Around 8 billion metric tons of plastic float in the ocean. And if that's not scary enough, we humans are consuming 1 million plastic bottles every single minute. And that's the rate at which this problem is growing. So what do? We change. When we got together at YSI, we just not only wanted to be the change, we wanted to bring the change to the world. So we made t-shirts made out of waste plastic bottles. We've engineered the science to convert waste plastic bottles into soft, comfortable, and sustainable t-shirts.
This is not a t-shirt. This is way more than a t-shirt. And our plan when we came into this was to create simple designs, but have a huge impact with a simple product. So we want to blend into the everyday wear that the changemakers could carry with them. We believe that there are endless possibilities with plastic, but we also want to use this as a reminder that there's still way more to do. We have information on our t-shirts as well, which could allow our Way More ambassador to feel the impact that they have. That is, we have the area code, where the bottles were sourced, the number of bottles that we're using in the t-shirts, and also a t-shirt serial number, which could put this kind of knowledge and information into the hands of the people wearing our t-shirts, and they would spread this, and our community would grow as well.
So our business model is twofold. On one hand, we're selling to businesses, so every business organization creates t-shirts for their participants, and we want to displace some of the unsustainable materials that are currently in production with our t-shirts made out of recycled plastics. We're also selling to individual customers more designer shirts, some of which we design ourselves and some of which we are sourcing from local artists around the world. Based on our research, our production costs come to around $5 per shirt, which gives us a contribution margin of around $10 to $15 per shirt. This is a huge market. It's estimated to reach $230 billion for annual t-shirt sales by 2020, and the eco-fashion market is predicted to reach $75 billion. It's actually growing at a faster rate than the regular fashion market. Sustainable fashion is becoming an increasing trend for consumers. 60% of consumers say that they would be more inclined to purchase sustainable fashion and would pay a premium for that product. We've accomplished a lot in a very short period of time. Our team and idea were formed earlier this year as part of YSI, and then over the month of July, we spent a lot of time in R&D actually producing the t-shirts. We got our first prototype to market and got our first paying customer all within that month. Within August, we've gotten over 2,000 people to sign up for the website and express interest in our product, and we've also had serious interest from UN students, Business for Peace, and other organizations in buying the shirts for this upcoming year. This fall, we're looking to raise $60,000 to jumpstart our campaigns. We also are going to launch a global Kickstarter campaign and accelerate the brand globally through launching an ambassador program to really bring the Way More movement to communities around the world. This is going to help us achieve our goal by August 2021 of selling 100,000 t-shirts, which will upcycle 1 million plastic water bottles that are found in our oceans. And our fundraising ask is $60,000, which will help us reach our first goal of selling 15,000 t-shirts and reach gross revenue of $150,000.
But guys, when has t-shirts ever saved the world? We don't think it has, and it is just the tip of the iceberg. Or if you see, it's just another plastic piece. The Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, has vowed to make India free of plastics by 2022. Such promises have happened before, and we believe they failed only because there is a lack of an identity, a uniting force to fight plastic pollution on the ground. We want way more to be that identity, that uniting force that starts fighting plastic pollution, beginning from India, because we are way more than a t-shirt. I think we are the right team. Let's get this right. I think we are a very strong team to go and tackle this challenge. Because I think we bring in a very strong experience. Madhav is an interaction designer, Leah brings in a strong business expertise, and I'm an engineer with multiple product experiences. But I think what unites us all is the fire, drive, energy, and passion to solve big problems. Tusen takk. Madhav, questions? Come back.
Thank you very much. Now we have some questions.
Thank you so much for a very interesting presentation. I love it. Just I'd love to hear some more about the manufacturing part. I kind of miss that. So are you more like a t-shirt brand company, or are you actually taking charge of the manufacturing part as well?
When we got together in April, we were very sure that when we come here, we want to bring the product. I think product speaks for itself. So at this point of time, we worked with different partners because there's no production line that makes this end-to-end. We've gone on found a sourcing partner who collects waste from the grounds of India, and then worked with 5 different factories that own different processes and got this product together. So currently, we're working with different factories who help us do different parts of the process and to get the product here.
That sounds like a lot of cost. So $5 per t-shirt production cost. That cannot be the real cost now. That must be when you're in the millions kind of thing. What's that? What did that t-shirt cost to make?
This is $5. If you make, so we made only 100 of these, and this is at $5. And from speaking to manufacturers and understanding the processes, if we make 10,000 of these, we're gonna bring it down to $3 or maybe lesser, just to give you an idea of how this maps with, let's say, other t-shirts. Let's say for a big brand to make, which makes, let's say, 1 million t-shirts, they make it at much lesser than $2. But yeah, this is $5.
Thank you very much.
I think one of the questions we get is that, you made t-shirts from plastic, and how does it feel? How does it look? We're going to be around. We have a sample with us, and feel free to come talk to us, feel the material, how it looks like, how it feels like. If you've never seen t-shirts made from plastic, we'd be more than happy to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We have a problem. If we want to educate every child in the world, we need 69 million good teachers. Is this possible? Let's think about it. If I'm educated enough to become a good teacher, do I want to go to a rural village in India, or do I want to go to private economy? So this is really a huge problem, and it's hard to solve. But there's a way out. Massive open online courses. How many of you have done any kind of online learning? Yeah? Okay, please keep your hand up if you have completed all your online courses that you have enrolled in. Okay, okay. Nikki. So this massive open online courses is a cool model, but it doesn't work that well. Actually, the completion rate is 11% for all the courses. For paid courses, it's 40%, but still it's way too low. What's the reasons why people drop out from online courses? So we have lacking support, insufficient feedback, we have a lack in learning skills, and we have way too high expectations. These two can be mapped down to people are sitting alone at home in front of the computer. They have nobody to study with. This is just people don't know how to learn. Okay, what are we gonna do? We have 3 steps. First step is connect people who want to learn the same thing. Second step is bring them together and let them meet up in person so they can learn together. The third step is facilitate the learning. What does it mean? We want to engage them in the learning. We want to use experiential learning, which means it's like not just memorizing, not just studying, it's just having an experience while you learn. So our minimum MVP, minimum viable product, is language. We have already started in Oslo because we figured out there are a lot of people who live in Norway and don't speak Norwegian. So we started this Facebook group, Having in Oslo. We have already 107 members. We got them just in 2 weeks. And we have met up already 5 times to learn Norwegian. And those people are satisfied. They're coming back. So, what about, this is to address step 1 and 2, right? Map the people together and let them meet so they can learn together. What about step 3, facilitation? This we have to figure out, right? There have been a lot of testing with experiential learning, and it works, but all the models we have until now are not scalable. We want to have a model that can scale all over the world, so we have to figure that out, and this is what we're gonna do the next month. What's our business model? So, actually that's value. The learners, they get to meet up, they get a learning experience, they get experiential learning. The course providers, MOOC, they get to higher the completion rate, which makes the customers happy and which makes the customers come back. The hub providers, this could be, for instance, cafes or restaurants, they get more people to go to their places. Business model. Right now, we spoke to some cafes, and they were willing to give us 20% of the profit they make from additional customers they get from our platform. In the future, if we are successful, we hope that we can license our platform to mock providers, and also if this really works, then people will be happy to come to our platform, and there will be also people who want to pay for it. So what are the other players in the field? This is Duolingo, you know that, okay? This is a language exchange. Like, I want to learn Spanish, somebody else wants to learn German, and we meet each other online and exchange our language. And we have platforms where people can meet in person, but they don't really focus on education. In the field of experiential education, we have nothing that is scalable until now. So this is where we want to go. This is our team. Not only do we have a lot of cool tech skills, but also all 3 of us have experienced the bad influence of a lack of education in society. Next slide. Okay, what we want to do next is we create 4 hubs, 1 in Vienna, 1 in Lahore, 1 in La Paz, and 1 in Pittsburgh, where we want to do the next testing, right? Where we want to see how we can scale the experiential learning. And what we need is strategic partnerships. Like, there are a lot of people who want to improve education, right? So we hope that we can work together with people who have already done research and who will be happy to help us. And also we want to get into another accelerator program that can help us to scale. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions?
Yeah, I mean, I should be going to these groups. I've been living here 2 years. I still don't speak Norwegian. Don't know if I ever will. But that's kind of to my question as well, too. Like, yeah, language is so difficult. I understand there's a very strong social component getting people together. Is this your main focus, or do you feel like there's other verticals in education that would be perhaps easier or higher retention and so forth?
So language is what we start with, because, you know, only inside Oslo there are like a lot of people who want to learn Norwegian. Actually, if you go on Duolingo, the second most learned language in Norway is Norwegian. So this is where we can start, where we can figure out. No. So this is where we start and where we can test our concepts, right? And after that, we want to teach everything, pretty much everything. You know, MOOCs are there for machine learning, for web development, everything. And you can also learn everything with experiential learning. Yeah.
Also, I would like to also, there is a big difference between languages. I mean, we are focusing first on languages because if you want to master a language, you have to practice with some people, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first market that we're trying to aim. And it's because we have seen that lack of motivation in people, the lack of that loneliness they feel, because we have interviewed them. They told us they want to meet, they're willing to meet, and they want to create these connections, they want to make friends, they want to have fun. But if there is no a central point where people can basically go there and just continue their online courses, then there is no point. So we're trying to aim to that, and we really hope to do so.
We have another question?
I think you sort of, I think you're, for one, addressing a very important problem, because affordable education is a global challenge. But my question is, maybe you could say a bit more about your business model. How do you generate revenues?
Yeah, this is not so easy right now, because now we only have a hub and a few people showing up. So we would need our partners, like our strategic partners who want to make the learning better, make the learning experience better, to help us out. And in future, we hope that we will, like that MOOC providers will be happy to partner with us and to have our platform inside their courses. Yeah.
We actually in the team have the manpower to create a platform, so that's not a problem for us. We are also like trying to get into these partnerships to grow our market, our user base, because we need to do testing. We need to prove now that this experiential learning really works. I mean, we proved the first 2 steps of our concept, and we need the money for continue doing this in our country.
Yeah. Actually, like for programming and for running the 4 hubs in our 4 cities, we can do that on our own. But for doing the testing, for doing the experiential learning, to research, this is what we need money for.
Thank you very much. Whoops.
Hello guys. Let me just pour myself a couple of glasses of water first.
Now. So, how does that work? Okay, good.
So you see these 2 glasses of water here? There's one that contains uranium. The other one doesn't. There's one that might give you cancer. The other one doesn't. And the problem is that no one really knows which one it is. Neither the people who consume it, nor the governments who are supposed to control it. If I get back to Norway now, I can tell you, like, where supposedly the water is perfect, I can tell you there's 112,000 people who get disease every year because of waterborne illnesses. If we go to India, where the case is much worse, we have only 8% of the entire population that has access to clean water. 77% of them, though, have a smartphone. So they have the purchasing power. But they do not seem to be willing to pay for like a water filter, much cheaper water filter. They get, damn it. They get sick as a consequence, and this has a massive impact on the economic performance of the entire country. there's a massive market opportunity there, and so many companies are actually working on to exploiting these opportunities, and yet we still have 1 billion people who do not have access to clean water today. There's a solution, so many solutions actually, for a predefined problem, and yet we do not seem to be closing this gap. This is actually because of there is one particular reason for this, and it is the lack of information there is today in terms of water. When there's a lack of information today, and what we do at Massmetrics, we have created Massmetrics in order to precisely fill in this gap of information with geolocalized, high-resolution data. So what we do basically is we want to build a machine that is a mix between a software and hardware in order to move and visit every single community we want to target. We would go and collect the water in order to pour it into our machine. This would create data. So it would be like we would analyze the water, the quality of water, and create data about it. And then and it's okay, man. It's all good. So it would. Yeah. All right. I'll let you know. So we would move from community to community. Right. I get it now. Woof. We would move from community to community then, and collect the data in order to we would create the. Damn it. Get it to me.
So our solution is how to bridge this information gap, how to convert this information in very insightful manner to people, so that rather than placing the value into a mobile phone or into something which is or television, how do they see the value into the very essentials of their life? This is where we come from. So we, based upon India's very successful historical campaigns like Pulse Polio, and how to engage public. Like you will see in public places in India, there are a lot of weighing machine, and people will eagerly jump onto them. And then how to bring in engaging means of collecting their data and convert them into very insightful information to these people. So this is what is our solution. We are Massmetrics. So the card, there is a very fun and engaging means of providing data. A card which goes from community to community. It awares the community about their water quality. At the same time, it geostamps their data, sends it to government officials, SDG agencies, and local NGOs about see there is a problem, you need to work on to that. So this is the card. So there is water inlet, then there is a display screen, this is solar powered, there are songs, games, and weighing machine to incite the interest of people. So community members come, they pour their water onto the cart. They are shown a very personalized nudge based upon their quality of water, which tells them if their water is contaminated. Then it converts those pollution parameters onto their health-related things, that the consuming the safe water will save you these many work days and this much money, or your water is safe. And then we also have very cheap water filter companies as our partners, who we provide recommendations to if they are interested, and then we get a percentage cut from that to make it the sustainable. So how much is it that we are trying to create impact for? There is a 60% increase in sale of relevant water purification systems, which are very much needed in that community. And 22 work days per person per year are saved. 5.48 billion US dollars will be saved in medical bills for the governments. This is a huge amount. The same money can go for education to children, a lot of other SDG challenges, which this does not have to get vested if people start seeing that value. So these are the cost of prototyping. So I talked about it. I talked about the information gap to the district commissioner, who is the most highest bureaucratic officer in the country. When we talked to him, Mr. Vijay Viswaspant, he saw that there was a huge information gap, and he immediately came on board to provide us the place to pilot it upon. So we are piloting with the community of 110,000 people, with whom only 15% have access to safe water. We are piloting our project for 9 months. We have had technological partners and academic partners who can make sure that the methods of ours are very scientific in nature. So we are, in a longer term, we are exploring different kind of funding modules. This is our 6 months plan and then a 4 months plan. But more importantly, with the kind of background which we have, Alex is a social entrepreneur, Mridla is a water engineer, I'm a design researcher. We are talking about a world where information is much more than the data. We are talking about moving the conversations of public discourse from opinions to data. We are talking about a future where everything is at fingertips. So we are trying to empower people with information where they can hold their governments, bureaucrats accountable. And we are mass metrics making invisible visible. Thank you so much. Also a second point. Alex was very enthusiastic about the project. He hasn't slept in the night. So that's the only reason it could go.
But I guess this is one of the strengths of our team, right? You know, like if this one falls and the other grabs him up.
Yeah, don't stress. When
No,
you're
I mean-
passionate and smart, sometimes the words get stuck, and it just
Yeah.
happens.
Fair enough.
Don't
Thank you
stress
for
out at all.
understanding.
Yeah, great pitch. Help us understand about the sort of delivery of the cart. How do you, and help me understand sort of local population, will they trust you? If you show them a screen, will they, okay, I trust you. Help me understand this. How is that going to work?
So the communication, though we are showing it in English here, the communication is the very language, in the very dialect which they understand, in a manner which they can relate to. So this is another challenge. This is not all very fruitful path which we are seeing. How to convert pollution parameters into something which they are very much relatable to. So we are actually talking to a couple of behavioral nudge experts. We have on board Australian researcher who is a great expert in behavioral nudge theory. Behavioral nudge theory says that a particular information provided in a right way at a right time will surely change somebody's discourse. So that is where we are coming from. That is how to convert this into a manner which people understand and relate to. So our prototype, we are expecting to fail a lot of time during our prototype and then to make it into iterative. And what is it that we are asking to you? We are asking you to criticize this. We are asking you to ask us questions on what we can fail upon. That give us, and if you also believe onto what we are doing, connect it with the people who might be equally motivated. That is what we are looking forward to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go to the last team. So now we've seen through 7 presentations, and now it's time for the last team. So buckle up.
That's my clicker. Thank you. The presentation.
Press next on the thing.
Okay. All right. So from water to urine. We're about to get quite up close and personal, guys, because we're going to talk about pee today. We are Screen to Care, and I'm presenting to you Pee Test. 2 months ago, our team came together and we realised there's a global problem. There's an inaccessibility of early stage detection models for lifestyle diseases. Lifestyle diseases, chronic diseases, inherently don't show symptoms in their very early stages, making this problem global. We decided to focus on chronic kidney disease as our first start because kidney disease of some sort affects over 600 million people globally. In the little island I'm from, in the UK, that's 1.8 million patients. But what's more scary is that 1 million of those are yet to be diagnosed. If we can get pre-diagnostic screening to these people, we calculate that in the UK alone, that's a market potential of £174 million. So how can 1 million people go undiagnosed? Well, if you're similar to me and these 93%, you probably don't schedule preventative doctor's appointments until there's something significantly wrong with you, and even then you might try and bandage over it quite a few times. Why is this? A nationwide poll in the UK revealed we have a lack of time. We usually prioritise work over our health. There's a lack of trust. Since 2015, only 11% of NHS patients say they always trust their doctor. And there's a fear of judgment, particularly with females who say that they are feared to be considered as they're overreacting when they go and see their doctor. So what are we going to do about it? This is our solution. It's an out-of-home screening method to expand the reach of early-stage detection of lifestyle diseases. An out-of-home screening method brings this direct to consumers. Now you can prioritize work equally to health. Expand the reach of early-stage detection, we propose giving you and arming you with the information to then go to the doctor so you don't have that fear of judgment. And trust in doctors directly correlates to how frequently you visit them. The product itself, P-Test, I told you it would come back around. It's a plug-and-play product, retrofittable for toilets and urinals. We are not proposing to give you a smart toilet. We are proposing to make every toilet smarter. What would the customer experience? Well, you'd go into your office, use the toilet, and you would be informed via a sign how to use the P-Test. If you're interested, you can scan the QR code that is unique to that toilet and urinal. Moving forward, that takes you to a website where you enter your email address just to consent that you want to use the service. And that's it. Pee is normal. You don't need to stay in the toilet longer than you really don't want to. A few minutes later, you're emailed with your results. It's a unique URL code that comes to your inbox. In the comfort of your desk, later on in the evening, back in the comfort of your own home, you can open up that URL where you're taken to a page to pay. Upon clicking that, for a one-off small fee, you receive your tailored results and assistive advice package. We will be advising people on when and how urgently to go to doctors because that relationship is currently missing. The business model, there are two business model lines that we want to explore. If you are a health freak, which I try to be with limited success, we offer providing the P-Test to gyms with a small B2B installation fee. The customers, in this case, the beneficiaries, pay £4 per test in their gym to use this. The percentage commission, a percentage commission will go back to the gym, which really incentivizes them to market this properly, and a percentage will come back to us. But if you work, for example, like me, I'm in a building of 11,000 people in the UK, we would offer a B2B installation and license fee for large corporates where people are spending around 40 to 50 hours a week. This would then be free, unlimited use for their employees. Who's going to execute this? Well, this killer team is. This is we're a mix of engineers and financial analysts from India, Belgium, and the UK. What's more is that we have 6 members on our international advisory board of nephrologists, general practitioners with over 25 years experience, medical data analysts, and also chief of research institutes. So we are in good hands. With their support, coming soon, we will go from our proof of concept, which you can see a bit later, to MVP hardware, and we will start building the database that backs up the relationships between urine health and kidney health. We will increase screening capacity through sensor optimization. Depending on what the customers want to screen, we'll allow that. And we will secure beta test commitment from UK gyms and corporates. So the big ask. We are looking for a minimum of €50,000 investment, but also knowledge partners to provide us with that ongoing data on urine or urine samples, and network partners to really help us penetrate the UK gym and corporate market. Thank you very much.
Now we'll go over to some questions.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that presentation. I mean, it's an important challenge. It's a clear customer value. And it seems like it's a well thought through business model. So, my question is, increasingly privacy and ownership to your own data. How do you think about that? How do you make people comfortable by leaving their mail address?
Yeah, of course. So definitely trust as a brand is going to be key to us. On our advisory board, we're also looking to get some GDPR and other data protection experts to really make sure that we're foolproof. The reason we've gone for email security is because this is something that you might not be using daily. And people sharing information via apps, it's a hugely saturated market where you typically have to log on and share even more detail. This is simply working off an email address where you have control over your data. You access it via unique code, and we would be looking to continuously improve on that.
Thank you.
Thanks. No, certainly tackling a big problem and with a pretty innovative solution. My question is whether the kidney angle, is that enough to get people engaged? Would you want to go in and say, I'd like to test the health of my kidney, especially in things, in the corporate place, in gyms, so rather coming in and, getting an idea of how healthy are you, are there any issues? So, expanding on your solution.
Happy to touch upon this. So our overall mission is to tackle health, lifestyle diseases, chronic diseases in general. We started with chronic kidney disease because there is a 10% of the population in developed countries is actually facing this. Diabetes is the second one on which we're focusing. By the WHO mentioned as the disease of the 21st century in developed countries. So these are two diseases which we feel people are connected to, at least in developed countries. What we, as a next step, also foresee is, for instance, look at STIs, sexual transmissible infections. For instance, roll out this product at university campuses, where there might also be a huge potential for it. So
there might, yeah.
So it's a starting point, and we're definitely looking into more. We have also the kidney experts, let's say nephrologists, have also thought about certain tumors and cancers which is possible to sense and have first indications for in a screening phase. So there's a lots of opportunities, but feet on the ground. Yeah, thank you.
So here's the one prototype made. So actually you can pour your urine over here and you can get the exact result. Yeah, so here you go. As you can see right now, I had poured the water into it, okay, to maintain the hygiene over here. Let's see. And these all are the systems, and you can get the data right here. You can see the data over here.
What does it say?
Yeah. So basically, what the data says right now that this is the these all are the sensors which screens the physical and chemical properties of your urine. Let's say different types of biomarkers which your urine has secreted in the urine. So these senses those biomarkers, and based upon the regression equations, these sensors have a value, and these values are correlated to the diseases. So basically it will say right now, it will say that whether you have a kidney stone or not, whether you have any type of chronic kidney disease or not, and or your kidney is well enough. Very soon we are going to implement the best. Right now the product is on regression, basically regression equations. Very soon we will be going to the machine learning part, where we can have more indicative tools when we can predict that what's the percent that how much your kidney is good. Let's say it's 50% good, 60% good, and at how much time it's going to deteriorate more. And what's the causality that you can have a diabetes? What's the thing that you can have a Parkinson disease? So we're gonna because urine is a very important biomarkers, and also the best USP of our product will be we are not pinching you, we are not forcing you to give us the sample. Even just you go when you feel the normal pressure, you just go to the urinals, you urinate and have your data securely on your phone, and we guarantee that this will be end-to-end encrypted. We will not see the data, and we will directly provide the data just from here to your device. You can we have app integration also. So you can have a look on the app. So we have data on the app. This is encrypted data. So no one in the middle can see the data. It's you and only you who will see the data. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you again to all of the teams. You guys did an amazing job, so I think we have to give them a huge round of applause to everyone. So before we go to lunch, I want to bring up on stage Stig from SANS. So SANS, they're one of the partners that have actually been with us the whole time. I remember when we firstly came to them, we pitched our idea. This was the year we got 50 applicants, so still pretty small. But SANS said, this is cool. We want to be a part of this. We want to help you guys out. And they've really helped us out a lot, both when it comes to legal advice, but also when it comes to other types of advice and network. So now Stig is going to tell you guys a little bit about the place we're here. So again, thank you. This is their location and their offices, and also a little bit about kind of how can you invest in startups and why would you want to invest. So there you go. Yeah.
Yes, I'm head of the technology group department in SANS. We've for several years worked with a lot of tech companies and startup companies in Norway. We cooperate with the most prominent incubators in Norway and have worked with several hundreds startups during the last 5-6 years. So YSI is one of the initiatives that we definitely wanted to support when they came, with its focus on global networking and sustainability. That was an easy choice, and looking at and hearing at the pitches today, we know that that was the right choice. It's very inspiring to hear all you guys' presentation today. Amund, I guess it was when it comes to investment, some of the project has kind of wanted to the investors to invest in the projects, and we have this year made kind of a structure on that investment. So I guess the phone number that you saw on the screen earlier, that was Amund's phone number. So step one is kind of send him an SMS if you want to invest, and step two is to then Amund will send you the term sheet that we have drafted up for the different investment. That is a non-binding term sheet, and that is made in order to get to start or initiate the dialogue with the different projects. And then based on that dialogue, you can invest in a professional manner. And we have, of course, then also documents that we will use in the process. Okay, Amund, do you want to say something?
I just want to move this over to a bit of a dialogue, and I just want to hear from any of you. Are there any of the startups that you find particularly interesting? Anyone that you would like to involve yourself in some sort of way?
Yes, I think with the Catapult Accelerator and our goal of our partnership is actually to take some of these companies after the program and bring them into our program. So sort of the next stage of investment as well too. I think they're all super interesting. I think I would definitely like to offer that if any are interested in coming back to Norway, I know it's expensive as hell, but please come back. We would be glad to give you some money so you can actually afford some food here. But we'd love to have all of them. If anyone's interested, they can basically skip the line and go right to an interview process with the investment partners. And I hate to pick a favorite. When you do a program, they're always like, who's your favorite? I'm like, that's like who's your favorite kid? It's not really easy to say. But I think the last one, because I'm a bit of a geek and I see that toilet in every good sci-fi movie. So it's like, it's bound to happen. We didn't get flying cars, but we might get smart toilets. So I think it's super interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so I work with Bakken & Beck, and we're like a digital product development company with focusing on design and developing AI and machine learning. So especially, so everyone who's doing needs some kind of mentoring or assessment or something in that part, respect, would be happy to talk to you. it would be super fun to work more with these amazing teams.
All right. Well, two comments from me. One, as a business angel or early stage angel, several of these are really interesting. You know, I think that business angels or early stage funds should take a real interest and go into dialogue with several of these, and that's cool. The last one is bound to happen. I agree with that one, but there are also several other ones there that actually really can work in the not too far future. Also, so I represent Business Angels Norway, the association of business angels in Norway, and we have the Nordic Angel Program together with 4 other countries here, starting in not very long, and you know, some of these startups should be part of that and be evaluated by angels in that context and in many other contexts. So this is good stuff. Welcome on board.
Actually getting messages in my phone. Is there anyone here? Oh, there.
Yeah, hello, I'm Andre. I'm from Alip, incubator in Oslo Science Park. We work with health companies. So of course, both of these two projects focusing on health is very interesting. We're happy to mentoring and help you by satellite or however you want. Personally, I run a couple of other companies. The guys that makes sustainable leather, I'm happy to be the first pilot customer because we make some kind of pockets for nurses and doctors, and we're happy to test that with the first batch you make.
Nice, thank you. Then I think everyone is ready for lunch. Give everyone just a big warm applause, and then I think lunch is ready outside.